I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. I am Kevin, joined by the man that I was also shocked by this move when it first happened, Michael Penix being drafted to the Falcons in the top 10. But they are playing him. However, it is just a interesting situation, Austin.
Yeah, very. And I sort of understand it. However, there's been a lot of games, like not in the very, very beginning, but like in that like 4 to 8 game range, like week 4 to week 8, where Kirk was the main reason why they were winning games. And that's what's kind of crazy about how he's played recently. I know he's played poorly as of late, but if my thing will load, 1 second. If you look at from the Tampa game to the Dallas game, there was 3 games where he had 3 or more touchdowns. 2 of those games he had no picks, and he was just overall efficient and playing well. I don't really understand what has happened. He did look better in my opinion against Minnesota, but he also had those bad picks. Then the last game against the Raiders, he didn't throw for many yards, but he did throw for a touchdown finally. The question on the video is, do you think this will help or hurt the Falcons? And I'm interested to see what you say. I'm going to say this doesn't hurt them because I don't know if Penix is the answer this season, but giving him some run this year I don't think will hurt.
Yeah, and it won't hurt them. And it's also, they're playing the Giants and Panthers in 2 of the 3 games. The other team is Washington, which will be a tough challenge for Penix, but I don't think it hurts him. To me, though, it hurts the relationship with Cousins and kind of your future at QB. I know Michael Penix was the future, but the problem with this whole situation is Cousins is on a 4-year contract and the rookie contract is 4 years. If it was 2 years, then you can wiggle out of it a little bit, but it's really hard to wiggle out of it. And Mina Kimes mentioned the play action rate. She was talking about the reason play action rate was 19%, which I know is less than the Cowboys play action rate, which is both pretty low and different from the Cowboys, and is the Falcons have a great running attack, which would help the quarterback, and that has helped Cousins in the past, especially with the Vikings. But I think he was struggling with the injury because that was a big talk about under center earlier in the season. So to me, Cousins is just dealing with an injury, which was to be expected. You brought that up when talking about him as a quarterback. So to me, I think he's working through it, and that kind of shown up in the losses and not having that running game to rely on and that play action to rely on. Really, I think hurt Cousins, as you talked about the picks, because it just makes things a little bit harder. And so we'll have to see how much they do play action with Penix, but that can be the reason. But to me, they were going to be in a bad situation no matter what, given what they did of signing a quarterback to a 4-year long-term contract with a lot of money and then drafting a guy in the top 10. You're going to lose value at either option. But it doesn't really hurt to me just because of their opponents. You're playing the Giants, who are basically tanking. They are really bad, but they're also doing things where they're not trying to win. Washington could be winning. And then you have Carolina, who's just bad. They gave up, I think, 400 over 400 yards to a terrible Cowboys offense. And their run game, the Falcons' run game is much better. So I don't see a lot of problems for Penix in that. So it doesn't hurt. It's just weird. But so it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think that part of the problem is play calling. I thought that for a little bit with the Falcons. It just doesn't seem like they're very cohesive. When they run the ball, I feel like I know they're running the ball. And if they were to run a play action or two there, maybe they get the defense off, like you said. So I'm just wondering if the play calling that has hurt Kirk Cousins is going to hurt Penix as well. You're right. They do not have the hardest schedule in the world for these next two matchups. So they are going to be, or for two of the three matchups that they have the rest of the season, because they do play the Commanders in 2 weeks. But I am worried that the play calling could affect Penix. But at the same time, I do think they're going to have the opportunity to put. They're doing this at the right time because they're I think giving Kirk also sort of a mental break, even though Kirk wants to play. If Penix plays well against the Giants and then is terrible against the Commanders, right? I think that the Panthers game, you would want the veteran in. So I understand why they did it. I don't think this hurts them immediately, but I could see it hurting them long term because something you didn't mention is that the Kirk contract's guaranteed. It's not, a lot of contracts in the NFL aren't, but this one is. A lot of QB contracts nowadays are becoming guaranteed. So it's a guaranteed contract. They're going to have to pay it no matter what. And that's not something you can escape from. And like you mentioned, the rookie contract parallels it. Now, you can add another year to the rookie contract to make it 5, and it's still a rookie deal, but it's going to be hard. They're going to have to decide what they want to do during this offseason. They still can make the playoffs. They're still in prime position to do that because of their schedule being so easy, but it's going to be interesting to see what the play calling is, if that's going to change, or who they really rely on. Is it just going to be a Bijan show with Penix at the helm, or are they actually going to let him throw the ball?
Yeah, that's a great point. And talking about Cousins, this could be good for Cousins, just giving giving him a break, as you mentioned, mental break, but also physical break. Well, it doesn't really hurt them, but to me, it also doesn't really help them. That's kind of, I don't see the benefit. It'd be different if they were out for the season. If they have a terrible season, then okay, Kirk needs some rest. Okay, let's give him some rest and let's see what we have in Penix. That's kind of the thing where I would see it, but they're still competing. So wouldn't you want the guy? So it's just a move, and I'm like, I don't see the benefit of it besides being for the future. But given the move to sign Kirk and everything else they did in the offseason, it signaled, hey, we're going to compete now, which they are still competing now with Penix, but it's a weird lateral move that I don't see the benefit of. Yes, you could have better quarterback play, but I think there were other problems with the team, and Cousins didn't play well over that 4-game losing streak, but it's still something to where it's kind of like you got to ride the wave of Kirk Cousins and your quarterback play that you signed. So we'll have to see what happens. And yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they went back to Cousins, as you mentioned. He is a veteran, so I'm sure he can handle it, but it is just puts him in a weird spot of, yeah, as you mentioned, is guaranteed. And you could trade him, but who else is going to give him, who's going to accept that contract?
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's a very interesting situation. Like you said, I don't know if this necessarily hurts him, but I also don't think it helps. It's a weird situation to be in, and it's one that they put themselves in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and we'll have to see what happens. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions. Follow for more episodes as we post daily, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.